Alright, hello. So, a very happy Valentine's to anybody who's watching this. I have to record this earlier in the day because, again, there's a whole day ahead of me that I need to get to. But in any case, today, what I'll do is that I will finish up the initial topic of attraction that I want to share. Which again, I have to stress something about the that I said in the first video, which is there is not going to be enough material when it comes to attraction for me to share about attraction in its totality. So there's no doubt that even though I covered 3 videos on this and the length of it is quite substantial, content is questionable, but in general there's still so many things that I can potentially share, such as what makes a person creepy in general. But in any case, the idea of the 3 videos that I posted is more of, okay, these are the general pitfalls, these are the things that how attraction kind of works, and the things that you want to keep in mind. So just to do a very quick recap on the last thing that we covered in the last video, is that I talked on the idea of if you are trying to hard sell something, then likelihood the person is going to feel like, okay, the thing have no inherent value. And I think it's a very deeply ingrained in us. It's basically a form of behavior that's very deeply ingrained in us, right? That if somebody were to try to push something upon us, then you can say that the fact that they are pushing so hard clues us in that, okay, they probably is trying to pass this off to us, in this case attraction, or their heart is central, whatever is the equivalence of it, and it must essentially be worthless if they have to try so hard. So this goes on to, and this links to what I'm going to share today, which is the different mindsets that you want to be wary about. And I'll end off with, the number one thing that you have to do. And if I have time, I'll probably want to share about the things that people find the least attractive in significant other. But in general, this is what I'm going to share, right? So if I go to start with what we covered. So what we covered previously was hard selling. Okay, so other than hard selling, what other types of behaviors or mentality that we hold that would potentially cause somebody to not fall in love with us? Or even in that case, what mentality that we can potentially hold that is going to hold us back when it comes to the attraction process? Now, one of which that I thought long and hard about, and potentially I would say that this probably causes a lot of pain when it comes to the attraction process, not so much of getting rejection, but more of you are not even being rejected, but yet this causes some pain. So what do I mean? Right? This is the idea of ownership. And the way that I see ownership is, in some sense, I do see it kind of creepy to a certain extent. So for me to describe the principle or the concept of ownership is as such. Just because I like somebody, I automatically assume that they are mine. So in some sense, you can say that this goes with along the concept of people calling dibs on somebody, right? So for example, if let's say you and your friends particularly meet an attractive person. So for example, you and your group of guy friends chance upon a cute girl, and the first person who decided that, wow, I really like this girl and I am going to do what I can to attract this girl, right? But in this sense is that if any of my friend were to try to step in and try to attract this girl away from me, then it's a little bit breaching of the bro code, right? And whatever equivalence that they have when it comes down to females. And of course, this principle by and large have its purpose, and you can say that there are certain form of fairness and it keeps the peace to a certain extent. This is the idea that I inherently think that it is quite problematic. And the reason why I think this mindset is problematic is because, well, first of all, what sort of ownership do you actually have on this person? And this type of thinking itself, I do think that is kind of creepy in general, because it's the idea of you have this person even before you actually know them. And you can even say that this sense of ownership extends beyond just interactions that we can understand, such as, like, you know, a friend group. Like, if I like a girl and then my friend like this girl as well, then the idea is that, okay, there's a little bit of a conflict here and there. But this idea even extends towards the idea of, if the person of the girl that you fancy, so for example, this is the girl that you fancy, okay, and then let's say the context that you know her is in school. So you can say that both of you is part of this bubble or social group called school. And particular, you can say school X. The idea of, if another guy were to meet her from another context, so hypothetically, if let's say this guy's identity is from school Y, you can say that there is a very inherent wrong but very instinctive thought that I am better for this girl because we are in the same group, instead of this outsider, so to speak. So again, this way of thinking, it's about claiming ownership of somebody before you actually get to know them, right? Because ideally, if let's say you are really in a relationship with somebody, then you can say that it becomes a philosophical debate of, can somebody own another person? Then of course everybody is free to do whatever we want, but you can say that couples to a certain extent have a sort of semi-ownership with each other, right? In the idea of we are not of the viewpoints that we should share our significant other with other people. So there are certain things that is a little bit more private and a little bit more exclusive for us in a relationship. And you can say that that's the whole purpose of a relationship, right? Exclusivity. Because if everybody gets treated the exact same way, right, your significant other and a random guy have basically the same treatment from you, then you can say that, then what's the point of your significant other being in a relationship with you, right? So this is one way that I see it, and this view is problematic. I noticed this quite some time ago, right? And if I have to be honest, whenever I see all this problematic mentality, I always see this problematic mentality from a first person's perspective. So it's not so much of I observe from a third person perspective, but these are the mistakes that I've made when I was younger. And you can even say that this was one of the mindset that I had, that I have to realize that, okay, there was this problem, and then I have to proceed to change. So when it comes down to ownership, well, if my whole goal is that I want to attract a girl, which if you have noticed, the idea of the 3 videos was not from the perspective of attracting the person that you like by all means necessary. It is not really based on that. It's more of, okay, once you attract the person, there is a natural next stage, which is relationship, right? And if there's something wrong during your attraction process, then you can say that you're already messing up your relationship. Be it whether or not you want to reach the relationship, or you do just want to attract the person for your own personal gain. This is, I leave whoever who earn this knowledge, not really earn this knowledge, who receive this knowledge, to do whatever they want with it, with their own morality, right? All I'm doing is just showing you that, okay, by the way, you might want to think about all these things, because I don't want this to blindside you, right? It's like giving a machine gun to a chimp. So the idea of ownership, and one potential problem, and I think that if you like somebody that your friend is also pursuing, my view on this is, yes, you can say that, like, you know, hey, the bro code exists over here, we should adhere to bro code. If my friend like a girl, I will not go after the girl, and I'm honorable for this. And in some sense, you can say that it is very true. You're very honorable for this, and like applause to you. But do you guys notice that in this way of thinking, between the two of you guys, you actually leave out one person's opinion, which is you leave out the opinion leave out opinion of the girl. And this is something that personally happened to me in the past. So what happened was I like a particular girl, and I come to find out that my friend also liked the same girl. Now in this situation, it's also not very cut and dry. I would say that between the both of us, I would have the better objective chance. As derpy as I look back then, right? I have a better objective chance than my friend, who I deem from an objective perspective and from what I can even observe with my limited skill of understanding human nature back then. I can see that there is no chance that this girl will be romantically attracted to him. But me thinking that I do not want a situation where if I were to get this girl, then it might sour our relationship. Because you can say that when two friends like the same girl, both situation of somebody getting what they want is going to be detrimental. So for example, if my best case scenario of me getting the girl is going to be the worst case scenario for him. And if he gets the girl, then you can say that the best case scenario for him is actually the worst case scenario for me, which is I don't get the girl. And the way that I see it, I weigh between a third option, which is, okay, what if both of us choose not to pursue the girl? Then you can say that, like, we preserve our friendship, and then we try to find another girl, right, somewhere down the line. And this is basically my point of view. But the idea is that beyond, although I have this point of view, my friend didn't have that same point of view, right? And he continued to pursue the girl. Did he eventually get the girl? No, he didn't. He did not eventually get the girl. If I were to continue to pursue the girl, would I have gotten the girl? If I have to be very objective, I would say probably not, because there is a lot of issues, like some of these mentalities that I keep back then, that would probably stop me and cause some issues for me down the line. But the idea is still that, number one, not everybody is going to subscribe to your sense of honor or morality, right? So again, you do whatever you want. But the thing that I want to share is that in our transaction of this, which is, okay, I let my friend get the girl, or my friend says that, okay, I'm going to let you get the girl, we do not take into consideration of the feelings of the girl. Because who's to say that, okay, let's say, for example, hypothetically, right, me and my friend, we have an agreement that says, okay, well, Ilong, you should go pursue this girl, because you saw her first, which, when said out loud, doesn't that sound ridiculous? Right? Just because you are the first person to proclaim that I like this girl in your friend group, then you happen to magically get first claim on this girl. And again, like, this is in no way any of your property to actually give claims or give away rights to. So in some sense, you can say that, yeah, it also breached certain principles or philosophy, right, when people have autonomy over their own life. But the idea is that what if in this situation, my friend says that, like, okay, well, Ilong, you pursue this girl because you claim that you like her first, and what if she, in actuality, likes my friend? Then you can say that in that one behavior and that one act of goodwill have screwed up one potential relationship, right, which is this girl and my friend. And you can say that, well, who's to say that, in this situation, you can even say that both of it is mutual, right? Because my friend like this girl and this girl like my friend. Then you can say that, like, I, being honorable, have basically screwed up one relationship. So the idea is, we are not taking into the consideration the viewpoints of the girl, which is why now I take the point of view of, if I am pursuing a girl, even if my friend like the same girl, I would find it perfectly fine. If not, I will actually find it quite weird if my friend also likes the same girl but he chooses not to do anything about it. Of course, you can say that there are situations that we willingly choose to give up on somebody if we see that, well, there is no hope for this, right? Hypothetically, these are some situations that I'm going to share later on, right? What if the girl is inherently incompatible Okay, so hypothetically, there's always going to be a situation where you might not like somebody no matter what, how attractive they are, and the idea is that, well, in those situations, you have to move on anyway. So there's nothing wrong with giving up, but the whole idea is that I don't want to spend too long over here. The whole idea is just that if you like somebody, and so long as there is nothing moral that is stopping you, such as the person is in an actual relationship, then again, that is the bigger moral issues, right? Then in that situation, I say that, like, there's so many single girls out there. Why are you trying to fight for somebody who is attached? Just find somebody else, right? Maybe somewhere down the line in the future where both of you happen to be single, then you all can try again. But otherwise, there's so many people out there. You don't have to just be stuck on one. And you can say that the idea of I only have one girl and one shot at love and no other opportunities is going to exist for me is inherently one of the issues that is going to be stopping you from being in a relationship, right? Because you are so caught up of I only have one, and if my sense of ownership fails, right, I fail to claim this girl, I fail to win her heart, then I'm screwed. And you can say that to prevent that, people will actually throw themselves at the feet of the girl. Or if you're a girl chasing a guy, you throw your heart, your affection at the feet of the person. And you can say that, well, you're going into the idea of hard selling, right? Because all you're saying is that please accept my love, please accept my love. So this is principle number one that's going to stop you and cause issues for you in the attraction process, which is if you feel like, okay, I need to lay claim to the thing. And you can say that the ownership is more of stopping you from pursuing somebody that you actually should have, right? Your friend liking the same girl should not stop you in any way from pursuing the same girl if you feel that you like her and she's single, right? You can say that if your friend hates you because of that, then you can say that that's actually a very selfish thought for him to have. And maybe it should make you recontextualize and start to rethink that friendship all in itself. But the whole idea, this is just ownership itself. But now we are moving on to something else. It's the idea of I only have one shot. So it's what I talk about, right? If let's say you only think that, okay, I only have this one shot at a girl, and then if I don't have this girl, I'll die. And I'll even lump the idea of if you're obsessed with a girl and you choose to do absolutely nothing about it, I will actually lump people like that into the same category. Because you can say that the idea is that they fantasize so much about this girl, but they are not willing to do anything. There was a video that I did back then, some time back. If I'm not wrong, it's when I shared about how attraction works. The whole idea is that what we're falling in love with is not the girl itself. But what we're falling in love is the idea of who this girl actually is. And this idea exists in our mind. The only way for you to sort out whether or not the person that you are infatuated with is actually the girl of your dream, the only way for you to know is to get to know her better. So which means to say that you have to go out to talk to the girl. And for me, I see issues with this only one shot, right? From two perspectives. Perspective number one, or you can say that problem case number one, is when somebody clearly likes a girl, and you can say that he likes the girl so much that he can't hold the emotion within himself, and that he has to, in some sense, let other people know because the emotion is so overwhelming, but yet they don't want to do anything about it. In this situation, I say that, okay, if you like a girl, or vice versa, if you're a girl that likes a guy, and you have two options. Option number one is that you talk to them. Because again, you have to know whether or not they are the person that you really do think that they are, right? Most of the time, we fall in love with first impression first. We fall in love with the idea of who they are. We fall in love with their face. And you can even say that before knowing the girl, you can, just because of the way that she dressed, she may dress more modestly, because of her build, because of the way that she talks, she may talk in a very soft voice. And because of that, we immediately associate her like, well, she must be a very kind and gentle girl. You don't really know anything about her, right? You can only infer. And if inference is so accurate, then you can say that, well, then everybody would just infer all the information in the world. The whole idea is that our instincts and our inference very often is wrong, mainly because most people don't really take the time to try to analyze their thoughts to say that, okay, is this true or false? Is this true and false? We just assume that, okay, because I have this instant impression of her, that's who she's going to be. The idea is that if you want to eventually be with this girl, okay, so let's just say that we are not talking in terms of like, okay, who this person actually is. We're just talking in terms of if you really want to be with this girl, you have to talk to them because you have to attract them. You can say that one of the ways that human beings, we form bonds is by sharing things that matters to us. So you have to go up to them and you have to talk to them using mirroring, sense of importance, 3 magic questions, so that they share the things that is important to them. They share their passion with you, they share their motivations with you, they share good memories in the past that they had with you, and it's through this experience that both of you will bond. And if you don't talk to them, guess what? The bond doesn't form. So it's either you talk to them, or 2, you give up. The way I see it, there's only 2 logical choices, right? You either talk to them or you give up. Because you can say that, well, if you don't talk to them and you refuse to give up, so all you're doing is that you're thinking about this person 24/7. Guess what? Hypothetically, there's going to be a point in the future where they're going to end up with somebody else. And this person is going to marry another person and is going to have another person's kid. And I personally saw this kind of a very sad situation. It was back when, during my internship, and I remember I met this person from internship, right? And he was just telling me about, like, you know, he had this ex-girlfriend, and then like something happened and everything like that. And through the conversation, then he wanted to show me the girl on Facebook. So he logged into his Facebook account and he saw that this girl, not only is this girl married now, but she's recently pregnant. Of course, recently was back then when that happened, which is very, very long time ago. And I can basically see from the side of this person's face how he died inside a little bit. Right, you know, of course he didn't burst out in tears, but I can see that it's a emotion swelling up, right, that could potentially bring him to tears. Do you want to put yourself in that situation? Right? Do you want to put yourself in a situation where you wait so long only for this person to be married, and then only then you give up on the person? It don't make sense. What's the point? If let's say it takes 5 years for this person to meet the love of their life, which is not you, because, well, you could potentially be you, but you didn't talk to them, and then they got married, and then they have kids 1 year later, so that's 6 years, and you all the while you're thinking about them but doing nothing about that. That's 6 years worth of opportunity that you gave up. That there are probably going to be people in your life and girls that would probably be better for you. You never know, could be worse, could be better, but again, potentially you might have passed over the love of your life, and you wouldn't have known. Why? Because you're thinking about a person and you refuse to give up because you are so stubborn. So the way that I see it now, I'm at an age where if I see a girl that I'm interested in, there's only 2 options. 1, I go up to talk to them, or I give up. And if to myself I'm like, Elon, you're never going to talk to her because you're a nervous wreck, right? Being with her, you can't form your words. Then the whole idea is like, well, I'm going to give up then. I'm not going to keep or waste any more mental energy on this, right? Of course, it sounds very crude, but again, do you think that girl will mind, right? She probably doesn't even know that I exist. And you can say that if she knows that I exist, then probably in the future there will be a point in time where, based on the effort that she put in and based on the effort that I put in, that I will find it, it's so much easier and I have an opportunity to talk to the girl, right? And you can say that this goes to the concept of there is approach and approachability. Of course, I can't really share approachability because, well, I'm not a girl, but the whole idea is that, yes, on one end, the guy have to approach, but on another end, you can say that, well, to a certain extent, girls can also make it easier for the guy to approach, right? You know, by smiling and etc., all the other things. And you can say that if your body language is that you're frowning and then you're crossing your hand, you're crossing like everything, you know, you just basically have the idea of leave me alone, then, well, can you blame somebody to not approach you? But the idea is that this is problem number one, right? Problem number one is that you think that you only have one shot, but you like this person, but you refuse to talk to this person. Problem number two is when you are chasing somebody that doesn't like you back, or you are wasting energy on somebody that doesn't show the signs of returning your affection. So this is like one-sided love, right? So this person is looking another way, probably this person is smiling, living their best life, but here you are giving attention to the other person. And you can say that the reason why I lump both of these together is because the whole idea of if I like a person and I refuse to talk to them, sometimes it's also because you know that you don't have a shot. Because this girl have clearly, interacted with another person in a better way, right? But here's the thing. Because of the human emotion of fear, we will always try to paint situations in the worst light if it suits our benefit. What do I mean? If I like a girl, if this girl have any sort of normal interaction with any guy at all, I will immediately jump to a conclusion she must be attached. Therefore, I shouldn't talk to her. If you have this view, one thing you can recontextualize and you can actually try to analyze, right? Is this thought actually true? How do I know, right? This could just be a normal friend. Am I going to want the person that I like to never interact with anybody from the opposite sex? If your answer is yes, you actually is kind of a problematic person in itself, right? Because you can say that what you actually want is so ownership of this person's attention from the opposite sex. Is it realistic? You can say that, yeah, there are some relationships that the guy basically says that, like, I'm only going to talk to my significant other, and hopefully vice versa. And you can say that there's also people who want to force that upon their significant other, right? Now that you have me, you never could talk to another person. If you're in that relationship, I suggest that you bail out of the relationship because, again, life is extremely long. Do you actually want to live like that? If your answer is that, I'm okay to live like that, and I have met girls, right, who says that, they really like their significant other to be possessive, then I'll see it as, so long as both of you are happy, then so be it, right? The whole idea is that if you haven't thought and recontextualized and actually try to figure out what you actually feel about this, it might be a good wake-up call for you to actually do this. But if you have already done the thinking about this and feeling about this, and you feel that I really like this, he's actually a nice guy, and all the things, then I feel like that's perfectly fine, right? Because again, relationship should be about subjective. So long as you like it, he like it, so be it. But the whole idea is with fear, right, we will over and exaggerate any signs that we see that is not in our favor. And this is one of the reasons why people refuse to talk to a girl. But the whole idea is that going back to problem number two is that you like a girl, but the girl don't really like you back. Be it the girl have affirmed her on her own, or through body language, or she just pays attention to other guys, and you refuse to see the things that you see, because when we fall in love, we see the world through rose-tinted glasses, and we basically ignore all red flags, right? Because everything looks red. I always like to use this analogy, right? Whenever I have any friends who come to me for advice when it comes to relationship, which, by the way, if you're coming to me for advice for relationship, I will say that, like, do you actually know me, right? I'm not really the person that you should come for relationship. To a certain extent, like, there's so many things that you potentially, or better people that you can ask, right? But the whole idea is always this: how do you actually know if this girl is really your dream girl? So if I really like this girl, right, these are supposed to be heart shaped, and then if I really like this girl, let's say if she is extremely attractive, she is 10 out of 10, literally the best looking person in the world, and if I can't have her, I will be very happy to marry her dad as a consolation prize because of how pretty she is. And whenever I see her, it's as if the heaven opens up, an angel flies down with a horn and goes like doo doo doo, and this is basically like how good looking this person is, right? There's a shine on this person. in this hypothetical situation, is it automatically true that I'll be very happy to be in a relationship with this person? Then there's a lot of people who go that like, yeah, wow, I really, really like this girl and I really, really like to be in a relationship with this girl, right? Is that really the case? Because what do you actually know about this girl? Beyond her good looks, what do you actually know about this girl? Practically, I'll go as far to say that you know nothing about this girl. And I'll even go as far to say that you thinking that she's a good person, although you don't know anything about her, is more problematic than if you just see it as a neutral interaction, right? Because I always use this analogy. Okay, you like this girl so much right now, but keep in mind you don't really truly know her most of the time. If you truly know her and you know that she doesn't like you back and you still continue to pursue this girl, then I would say that we are human beings. We can choose to do whatever you want, choose to do whatever you want with your destiny, right? I'm not going to stop you. I might give my views on it, but I'm not going to stop you from doing anything. Do whatever you want. And you can even say that historically there have been precedents set that there are people who through sheer persistency have eventually got in a relationship with the person that they like. So persistency have won the day in the past. And you can say that because of that, it gives them opportunity to get to know each other better and eventually they fall in love. Which compared to if we are just going on the basis of looks itself, then you can say that some of these relationships that turns out to be lifelong and good healthy relationships would not have occurred. But the whole idea is, coming back to this example, is that would you still like this girl? Right? Would you still like this girl if hypothetically you found out that she kicks puppies? On her off days, she basically goes to, take a walk in the park, and whenever she saw a cute little puppy, she would kick the puppy as hard as she could. Hypothetically, this person is very good looking. Would you still be in a relationship with her? Would you still want to be in a relationship with her? Right? Of course, some of us guys, will still be like, well, I can fix her. Right? And then maybe some girls will also like think that, well, if I find a guy that's very good looking, I can fix her. Like, the list goes on, right? Because all I need to do is just continuously add red flags. If let's say this is the person who likes to go to a public place, try to pick up stray animals and bring home to like stab and all the other problematic things, would you still like this girl? Right? The whole idea is that hypothetically, if there is enough red flags, if I can draw a flag, well, this is good enough flag, I suppose. If there is enough red flags, no matter how attractive somebody is, we wouldn't want to be in a relationship with them. Right? Extreme example, right? Extreme example. You didn't know that this person have AIDS before liking them. Then you found out that they have AIDS. Which, by the way, like, if you want to date somebody, you want to marry somebody with AIDS, by all means go ahead. But you can say that there is going to be a lot of people that is extremely turned off by that. There's going to be like, well, I don't want to contract AIDS. I don't want my children to contract AIDS. So if you have AIDS, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you, right? That's an instant red flag. And there's so many other possibilities, right? If this person sleeps with 20 other guys concurrently, this person wants I think that's called a polyamory relationship, and she wants to sleep with 20 other guys. Would you want to be in a relationship with her? So if in that situation you're not going to like her, then you can say that at this point it really doesn't matter whether or not if she rejects you. Right? If let's say you go up to this girl and then you talk to her, right? Because you're not going up to her and asking her to be your girlfriend the first time that you guys meet. Likelihood you want to go up to her, talk to her, get to know her. And through getting to know her, then you will know whether or not she has all these red flags. Hopefully. But the whole idea is that if your fear is that if I go up to her and then she rejects me and she breaks my heart, guess what? If she's a nasty person, like what I described, she kicks puppy and she kills kittens, then you wouldn't want to be with her anyway. And because of that, the advice when it comes down to at the end of the day is extremely simple when it comes to the problem number 2, which is thinking of this person, right? Of course, if you like somebody that doesn't like you back, my advice is give up. Go find somebody that loves and value you for who you are, right? Do not degrade yourself to try to beg for somebody's love. And I think this works for female and male, both the same, right? If you're a girl who's trying to chase and get attention from a guy who doesn't give you the same attention back, just find another guy that will give you that attention. Vice versa, if you're a guy chasing a girl and she doesn't like you back, just find another person that will love you, right? I can teach you the methods of how to manipulate this person to be in love with you. I can even tell you, okay, step 1, you do this, then you do this all the way to like step 5 maybe, that will change this person's whole perspective and start to love you. Then I'll ask the question, is that actually love? Right? If you have to use manipulative means to get somebody to love you, that isn't really love. At the end of the day, find somebody that genuinely loves you instead of somebody that you feel like you have to use tricks to keep them with you, because I can say that would get very, very tiring. But in any case, that if let's say that's not your situation, what you're basically doing is that you like a girl, but you are very afraid to actually go up to her. The idea is that you can either give up or you can go up to talk to her. And if you go up to talk to her, rest assured, you don't have to worry so much of the whether or not she'll reject you whatsoever. Keep in mind, I will go as far to say that mass majority of people by normal distribution are going to be good and attractive enough to find a relationship with another person. And you can say that if somebody is so delusional to, let's say we're in the same wavelength, right? Hypothetically, you are a 7 out of 10 and this person is a 7 out of 10. And if you try to talk to this person and this person goes ew, that I will only date people who are 8, 9, and 10, you can say that, well, this person is kind of delusional. But again, this person has the rights to their preference. Then what you do is that you move on. But you have to understand that a lot of times, right, when people reject us, it is not really our fault. There are days that it is your fault, right? If you go up to a girl and you grab her or you do anything that is deemed as creepy, then guess what? That's your fault. That's why she rejected you. But mass majority of the time, that's not going to be the case, right? The person might have anything at all. Maybe it's just not a good day for her, right? Maybe she have a bad day. Then you can say that, well, why not I ask another day? Then yeah, why not? Just ask another day, talk to her another time. Just approaching the girl, asking to have a conversation. Well, you don't really have to ask anybody to have a conversation, right? Just apply the things when it comes down to mirroring, sense of importance, and 3 magic question. You will naturally get yourself in a relationship. You never have to, can I have a conversation with you? That's kind of weird. But the whole idea is that there are going to be people might reject us, yes, by our own fault, but it is also likely that people will reject us because of factors that we have no control over, such as it's not the right time, somebody passed away in her family, she's grieving, then she's not in the right mind to be in a relationship. Then maybe you can say that, wait for her to be in a better situation, or you can just go find somebody else. Or at the very least, you can say that if that's the case, right, talking with this person, allowing this person to actually vent, provided they trust you enough, you give the sense of sympathy will eventually help both of you bond. And maybe because of that, she might reject you right now, but you might be in a relationship with her in the future. So there's so many things that you potentially would give up, right? The whole idea of, okay, if I can't get this girl, I'm screwed, or the whole idea of she's going to reject me, the more that you think that this person is going to reject you, guess what? These feelings will be mirrored to her. Human beings have the capability to absorb the feelings of another person. It's in animals, right? Which is why us human beings, we are able to interact with dogs. Not because we are able to use the words, but because we are able to mirror feelings to a certain extent. We can tell when our pets love us, and vice versa, I hope, right? I truly hope that, our pets do know that we love them. But the whole idea is that if you're afraid, don't worry so much, right? Even if things screws up, the day life goes on. You can say that even in the worst case scenario, she goes ew, your lives are going to go different ways because you don't tie yourself to her life. probably like she might laugh about this situation to her friends, etc., whatsoever. But hypothetically, even if you guys are still in school, right? School's gonna last what, 3 to 4 years? Eventually you guys are gonna go your separate ways anyway. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. But again, don't feel pressured to actually talk to a person. If you really truly feel like, okay, I don't really want to talk to this person, I want to give up, then so be it, give up. But never take the half measures, right? Which is like, I really like to have this girl, but I don't want to talk to this girl. Then in this situation, there's nobody that can truly help you, right? And I can say the best advice when it comes down to, if you like somebody, just go up to talk to them, because you really don't know who this person is, good or bad, until you truly talk to them. But in any case, these are the points that I have when it comes down to the mentality that would stop people when it comes stop and cause issues during the attraction process. These are the mentalities that will basically screw you over, right? And if you have these mentalities right now, don't worry, it is never too late to actually change and reframe them. Keep in mind that it is not objectively wrong, or there is nothing wrong with you for having this mentality, because you can say that I myself was a victim of these mentalities in the past, and you can say that I was, based on the things that I share, I personally have held those beliefs in the past, and I was the person who is afraid to talk to the girl, and I was the person who thought that, okay, I should be with this girl because I like her first. Which, again, actually good thing that I shared, right? Good thing that I said this point, because there's also another point that I forgot to share. The last issue, the last problematic thoughts process that I believe that would cause issues in the relationship process and the attraction process is the idea of my attraction is valuable. And I'll touch on this point really quick, right? Because I don't want this video to be too long. And if I have to make a whole other videos on this, then so be it. But the idea is that my attention is valuable. What do I mean by this? The reason why people get their heart broken and they get vindictive whenever they go up to talk to their crush, etc., is because they think that for the other person, it's a compliment for them to find out that we like them. And because of that, if the whole idea of us being our attention is so valuable, is the whole idea of, if I were to go up to confess to you and say that, well, I like you all this time, it is a feasible strategy. But here's the thing with this mindset, right? Which, again, the only way for me to know that this mentality exists is because I was a victim to this in the past, is the whole idea of people don't really care about what we want or what we think or what we desire. And you can say that the whole argument of I like you so much and therefore we should be in a relationship is a very one-sided thing. It goes back to what I shared previously, right? Which is, a relationship shouldn't be a me versus you. It shouldn't be me getting the most value, right? You think that, okay, I want a guy that is this attractive. And then I think that, like, well, I want you because I find you so attractive. And then I'm trying to convince you and trick you into settling with me. I don't think that's what relationship is, right? Relationship is not a competition between the sexes, right? Where we are supposed to try to get as much as possible for ourselves. It should be a mutual cooperative thing. So the whole idea of, like, well, I like you, my strategy when it comes to dating is to go up to the girl and say that, like, and suddenly surprise her by saying that, like, I like you so much, please go out with me, is inherently flawed. Will this work? Yes. Hypothetically, there are situations in the past that this have worked, which is the girl already have some feelings for me, and you can say that by confessing my feelings, then she can confess her feelings, and because of that we get in a relationship. But the issues, the reason why I preface this by saying that this is an issue when it comes down to attraction is when you assume that your desires have any inherent value at all. And at the end of the day is that our views and our desires have no inherent other value to the other person. So you can even say that this extends towards if I'm in a relationship or not in a relationship. If I'm trying to attract this person and all I try to do is I try to talk about my achievements and how good I am, right? And again, I made this mistake, right? Which I go to a date and I try to impress the girl by saying I'm this, I'm that, I try to show off my best trait. Truly, this person doesn't care. This person don't care. The only thing that this person cares is about their own life. There's nothing wrong with the girl or there's nothing wrong with the guy that you talk to. It is just that it's human nature. We only care about the things that matters to us. You can say that if I were to share about how impressive I am, at the end of the day, you can even say that the interaction would seem very shallow, right? She might get the impression of like, this person doesn't really care. This person just talks about himself. But the thing that will work is if we focus our attention on the other person. So the whole idea of this, my attention is inherently meaningless or valueless, is just trying to tell you that don't focus on yourself. Don't try to impress the girl by telling her how much you like her. She's not gonna be impressed by that, right? And I'm pretty sure this goes the same way for girls to guys, right? The only thing that matters to this person is their own view. And you can say that in the first example that I said, that this person saying that, oh, wow, I like you all this while, and then this girl saying that I like you all this while, is because the thing that it works is because, well, it focuses on her feelings. And what you said just happened to match the things that matters to her. But if the girl doesn't feel anything for you yet, right? Maybe it's still too early. Then you can say that by trying to impress her with all your achievements and all your titles and the things that matters to you doesn't really work, right? At the end of the day, again, the safest way to attract somebody is to go through by talking to them using the framework. Because again, you get them to talk about the thing that truly matters to them, right? Their history, their passion, their motivation, etc. But in any case, this is going to be the last point that I touch upon. And of course, this probably will not be the last video that I make when it comes to attraction. Likelihood there are going to be other things such as how does creepiness work? Why is it that some people give creepy vibes and some people don't give creepy vibes? And to understand the whole idea of how do I avoid sending the signals of creepiness to a girl, right? So probably there's something that I'll share in the future. But in any case, at the very least, this is where I'm going to end off it's supposed to be 2 videos, but now it's a trilogy apparently, of when it comes down to attraction. And then probably sometime in the future, I'll go touch on to other things such as power. And I think that it's quite overdue for me to actually share on power, right? In the sense of I've been talking about the influence all this time, right? How to influence somebody. I haven't touched in terms of power. I did touch in terms of power, but here and there, like such as partially when it comes to attraction, right? The whole idea of the reptilian brain and the fight, flight, and freeze actually falls under the principle of power, because the whole idea is how do we actually read each other. So probably sometime in the future, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a video that is solely dedicated to power, in case that you feel like, okay, Elon, I don't want to use influence in an interaction. Can you teach me how to utilize power? Of course, my suggestion is that you probably shouldn't use one by itself. For people who actually know me, is that I don't just use influence. I use influence most of the time, but when power is more appropriate, I will actually pull out power, right? And the whole idea is that understanding all these techniques shouldn't shoehorn and pigeonhole you into one single train of thoughts. The idea that I share all these things is for you to have knowledge, so that you're able to use the knowledge that is most appropriate at the most appropriate time, so to speak. So in any case, I'm going to end off everything here. If there's any confusion, then do let me know. Then I'll help you clarify the thoughts. In any case, I'll see you in the next one. See you.